Hello and welcome to our Sudan Days, this most unusual of Sudan Days. And much thanks to everyone who's contributed so much to not only our day-to-day, as it were, particularly Ron Hart and Sheila, but also to all who support us in our partnership, which is now approaching its 49th year. Like so much of our common life in these days, our Sudan partnership activities have been dominated by the COVID crisis. And the wonderfully generous response to the needs of our brothers and sisters in the Sudans to the crisis has both surprised us and gratified us. As the two primates have said to our Bishop Nicholas, they are so grateful for the nearly £90,000 that has been raised for them. We were looking forward very much indeed to hosting many of the bishops from our link with Sudan and South Sudan to the Lambeth Conference this year. They were going to come here for a week or so before going down to Canterbury, but very sadly, again because of the crisis, it's been postponed for 2022, and we hope and pray that we can look forward to sharing some quality time with them in 2022. Peace and prosperity are the natural yearnings of all people everywhere, and especially so the 40 million or so people in the two Sudans. But these days, it is peace and survival that are the priorities. In the north, in Sudan, there are hopeful signs that the peace agreement, the long debated peace agreement between the various factions in Sudan, was signed just these few days ago. There are, however, still some uncertainties because although many of the factions have signed up to the peace agreement, some of the rebel factions, the SPLM and the SLM, have not. So it could be tricky still for some time to come, but we hope and pray that it will work. And the agreement has been guaranteed by Chad and Qatar and Egypt, as well as the European Union and the African Union and the United Nations. But the really serious, abiding problem there is not only peace, but it's also the collapse of the economy and, quite literally, the risk of starvation. Many of you will remember that Archbishop Ezekiel said to us when we launched our COVID campaign for them, he said, "My people would rather die of COVID than of hunger." In South Sudan, hunger remains a worry too, as the Mother Nile, as she's known, knows no boundaries. For when she floods excessively, as she is at the moment, crops are rendered inedible and lost. And the economy there is broken, with sky-high inflation, and she's never really recovered from the inter-ethnic fighting that broke out in December 2013. But peace talks are underway there too, and in our work with the Justice, Peace and Reconciliation Commission in the Episcopal Church, we strive to find a solution to that dreadful choice and put it into action, the choice between tribe and faith. For as we know from our own pre-medieval history, if we get our faith right, then tribe, whilst remaining important to our identity, because it is indeed us, it nevertheless becomes secondary to our faith. So the very real nature and meaningful of Christian partnership is not simply about raising funds and handing them over and a sort of job done mentality. It is about living with our partners, living with their needs, travelling with them in mind and spirit through all the challenges they face, and sharing together in prayer and fellowship, living faith in Christ. There is so much following up to do to ensure that the funds we donate are spent accountably and responsibly. This applies to all that we do in both Sudans, and whether it's our medical link work or our education to support schools and theological colleges, and now, of course, the Episcopal University. And when we have advocacy and peace building and development, and the South Sudan Development and Relief Agency. Back here in the UK, we support peace efforts and development through the work with the Foreign and Commonwealth Office and the development aspect of that. And of course, ecumenical relationships through the South Sudan Council of Churches. It's also important that we function at the local and parish level, at deanery levels too, where there is a mutuality of prayer and fellowship across the miles. This is where individual initiatives can flourish, where